Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Deepti, and in today's video we will be discussing about the topic how to make a research proposal in an elaborated way. I'll be telling you step by step how you can make your own research proposal. Now this is quite important if you are doing a PhD in a certain, like you're doing research and you're doing a PhD and you want to write a research proposal for approval by your guide. And if you are discussing this for an MSc student, then also it's really useful, or you just want to know in general. So, what are the steps? First of all, we need to understand what a research proposal is. So, basically, a research proposal is a certain idea or a topic where you think a research is required. Let's say you are from the background of nutrition and you want to do a study in that specific field, so you can pick any topic of nutrition to research about which is relevant to the current times, and there is a certain time bound criteria to it. Like, I'll tell you what the second thing is, but first you need to understand that it's very important for you to have a relevant topic, which is something which is not researched yet. It needs more research, it needs more exploration. So how can you find out that? You will look for things, or like you will go to scholar.google.com, and there you will look for similar topics to the kind of the one you want to research. Or you can go up to some libraries or like online libraries and journals and try to find out what are the researches which are already done and published. So you'll have a certain idea. If you go through those researches, you'll understand that maybe they haven't covered a certain aspect, and you think that you are able to do a research on that by yourself. So that will make your research quite relevant because it's a needed one. It's something which people require. So the first thing is for you to understand a specific title. As I said, title will title will come if you know your topic. Like, in a broad sense, you know what you want to research. Then you will choose a specific title. Framing, you will frame it based on your topic. So how will you do that? You will ensure that your title is concise, descriptive, and it is accurate. So if it is concise, that means it's very much clear, and it is very much able to explain that you want to do this specific research in a certain topic. If it is descriptive, then of course you are then covering all the aspects of what you want to do here. So I'll give you an example. Again, let's take from nutrition. Let's say you want to discuss or see potential changes of someone who is diabetic, or you want to do some kind of a research with diabetic people who are old, and then on the basis of that you decide your title, and then you give it a complete structure. So you say, understanding the impact of um, let's say nutrition education on diabetics from age group of um, 55 to or 60 to 70 years. So then you have a very concise and a descriptive title. On that you can work. Then we talk about the introduction. So start by introducing the topic and its importance. Like, why is this important? Why are you doing your research on a specific title which you have selected? So you have to introduce that topic, and you have to tell that this is important because there is a lack of other researches which are published in this, and according to me, I think that more insight is required in this topic. Hence, I am doing this research. um After you've done that, so your introduction has to be quite big. Like, it goes for at least a page or two. where you are, telling the context of why you think these research is important, and you are telling the problems, and you are telling the gap that your study addresses. As in, you are telling them that if I do this research, then this problem can be solved. So that is the implication, means the effect, like what do you achieve at the end. So that is majorly what you are trying to convey. So these two really need to make sense for your guide to even consider your research proposal. Now, I'm an MSc student whose research proposal is on nutrition, and it's already been selected. Like, my research proposal has been approved. So that's why I'm making this as a quick guide for you to understand what you can do. Okay, next is you define the objectives. So there has to be 3 to 4 objectives that you have to define, and in that, you'll be telling a few things what your research will achieve, like what will you gain. So objectives have to be smart. That means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. These are the criteria that you will be following to make sure that your objectives are quite smart. Now, this is there. So, other than this, why are 3 to 4 objectives required? See, the title is like just one statement which comes at the heading, as like the heading of your research. So, the title will be there immediately after your cover page. But the objectives are 3 to 4, which are like, you will break down your title, and then you will give 3 to 4 determinants or factors that you are considering in your research. So let's take an example, like I said here, for diabetics, and seeing the effect of nutrition education on diabetics from the age group of 16 to 70. Let's take that. So what could be your objectives for that? So some of the objectives you can keep is, like, one you can keep is seeing the effect of nutrition education over the course of 2 months on the diabetics in this area or in this age group, and maybe preparing your own nutrition based, education pamphlet or poster or whatever you are trying to make, through which you will give them the education. That is also one of your objective. Then you are like likewise you'll think of more. So it really depends. Like, I can't give you a concrete objective. It really depends on what your topic is, and then how you will be, reading the already published um, studies on that, and then you'll decide, exactly. So this is a really personal kind of a step. You really have to dig in to understand what is lacking, and then try to find out, and then define your objectives. Now, I can help you with this step. If you just comment your title in the comment section, I'll be able to help you framing some of the objectives. So you are free to do that. Okay, next is the scope of the study. So, what is the scope? You will define the boundaries of your research. That means your research has to be limited in some sense. Either you will cover the geographical area in a certain space. So, you could take diabetics of Delhi or NCR or um, Australia, even, or like a certain area in Australia, like a certain city or somewhere like that. And you can take a certain time frame, as in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, or a year, depends on what your topic is. And then you will clarify whether it focuses on a specific group or population. So, like I said, diabetic people, that too from the age group of 60 to 70. So, this is quite old, and there are chances of people having diabetes more in this age. So this is like the thing. So you're kind of, you're all the factors of who you are including, and where you are including them, for how much time you are including them, all that also needs to be there. So that's like the scope of of the study. Now you can mention the scope within the methodology as well. That is also something some students do. So you can mention it, during the initial part of the methodology. Next is review of literature. So you will summarize key studies and findings related to your topic. So, like I said, even when you are trying to understand the introduction and trying to know what to include in the introduction, even from that point onwards, you have to review a certain set of literature. That means you have to look at other researches already just from the very beginning. But there is a certain section of review of literature in your proposal that needs to be written. And in this section, you will highlight which studies you have studied, and you will use proper APA citation for that, or whichever citation is asked for in your university. And then you will review different authors whose studies have been published. So this is something you will be doing, and the section needs to be there. It is there for all research proposals. So highlight gaps or unanswered questions that justify your research, summarize key studies and findings to your topic, use credible sources. Like I said, you can go on online journals, you can go to academic papers, like papers specifically published, which highlights new researches. You can go for reports, and this is where you'll find old literature. Next is methodology. So methodology is the way in which you are doing your research. What, like, what is the method that you are following? So you will describe the type of study. Now, to understand the type of study, I will make another video, and in that I'll discuss different types of studies with you. But it's very important for you to research this, as my channel is quite new, so I'm focused on building more and including as much content as possible. But please research and, like, just try to understand what different types of studies are. What's a survey method, what's an experimental, what is qualitative? All these things you need to know. Even there are a lot more, and from that you can select that, my research type is a survey study or an experimental study, like that. Then detail the tools or instruments. So what will you be using to collect the data? This is for collecting your data, because of course there has to be some data you are collecting. We all know researchers collect data. So this is the step that you'll be doing. So questionnaires or observations or checklists or any kind of tools, there are so many. There are interviews, open-ended or close-ended interviews, like that. There are so many tools which you can use. So you will mention exactly what tool you are using. Sorry. Next is explain how you will collect and analyze data. So you have to tell exactly step by step how you will collect your data, who are the people you will approach, how will you approach them, and you will explain everything. So I can't get into detail of this much, because it really depends on your specific topic, your specific title. But methodology is, the biggest section of your proposal, and it is a very detailed one. So that means it's really really detailed. I made this mistake often, that my methodology, when I was writing it, it wasn't that detailed. Like, I kind of skimmed through what I'll be doing, and that wasn't a good idea. So you have to really explain what you are doing. Okay, then only they consider it. And you really have to pay attention to every single point that you are doing. So you have to be good at paying attention to detail, what you are doing, how you are doing it. All that is to be explained. It's like, you have to give them that much for them to consider and to understand exactly what you are doing. Then you have inclusion and exclusion criteria. So you will define who will participate and why. So inclusion and exclusion criteria is, you will tell who will participate and you will tell why. Like, you can include a certain people for diabetics. It is like the study I mentioned, it is diabetics, old age in a certain area. Now this often comes up in the scope of study as well. So this is what you will be taking, and why are you taking this set of participants. Okay, next is intervention or procedure. So you will explain any planned interventions such as training programs or service. Describe how intervention will be delivered. So this step is very specific only if you are using some procedure, or you are doing something and then you are seeing a change from before and after. Otherwise this step is not required. If you are not doing a impact or an implication kind of study, you can remove this. But if you are, then it's important to put. So what do you do in this step? You will explain like what interventions are you using, what exactly are you using to bring about a change or to give some education. So it could be a training program of 2 weeks or 4 weeks, or a certain time criteria. You could do a survey. You could have like posters or videos as some kind of content which you are sharing with your study sample, and then you are seeing the change. Then you will mention how the impact will be measured, like pre and post. Pre is before you have done the intervention, and post is after. So you will see this impact as well. Next is data analysis. Is when you have collected all the data, and when you know exactly, like you have this huge set of data on your Excel sheet or wherever you are putting it, then you will use data analysis, as in how you will analyze the data. What will you do to understand and break down the data so it's easy to comprehend? Okay, it's easy to interpret. So you will use SPSS tool. Now there are lots of tools, so you have to go and understand which tools are there for you to easily analyze the data. Or thematic coding for qualitative responses. And discuss how you will compare groups and track changes over time. So if there are some certain changes over time in your data, let's say when you started it was different, and when you finished after 2 months, let's say, it's different. So you will also have to discuss that and describe that in your findings. Now, expected outcomes is, what have you gathered at the end? What is the impact or your findings of your research? So all this happens after you are done with your analysis. What did you find out? That's a certain outcome here. And ethical considerations is, um, mention steps to ensure ethical research practices, such as obtaining informed consent from participants, keeping data confidential, gaining approval from an ethical review board. That means if you're like, it depends on what research you are doing, but for certain researches there are some ethical considerations. This one, the first one, is quite normal. Second one is as well. So these two are very very common, and these two are the most popular ones that are there in most studies. And the third one depends on what your topic is, and if you need approval of some review board which talks about ethics for you to take that research. Next is the last point is references. Where have you gathered the sources in your review of literature? Here you have to mention those sources. So you will mention the names. I mean, you are mentioning their names in the review of literature as well, but references also come at the end. This is kind of like a tribute to the people who's, on the basis of whose study you got to know more information, and now you are doing your own study. So it's a well organized list of sources cited in your proposal. Any kind of source. It could be a newspaper report or like an article. It could be an academic paper. So you have to mention all regardless of what it is. You have to use a consistent format, so you can follow the format which your specific university wants, and that is done to maintain professionalism. Then you have to include foundational studies and relevant guidelines. So you have to, make sure that your references are to the point, they are very concise and clear. So what are some additional tips you can follow? Keep the language formal yet clear. So don't use too much complicated terms. Like, don't make it too complicated. That's not the way to go about it. You should use formal language, but it should be simple as well. Okay, don't make it complicated. Then use diagrams, charts, or table if necessary to clarify complex methodologies. If your methodology has too many steps and it's like too much, you're writing too much in it, just use a flow chart. So you can make like a box, and then you can tell more boxes to it. Now this you can make depending on if it is an arrow, or if it is, a step by step, then you can make it like this. So it's kind of just easier for you to show that this is what I'm doing, and it's easy to understand. Then ensure your proposal flows logically from problem identification to solutions. So like your point A is you've identified the problem. Then you have to at the end provide a solution for it. Now mind you, not all researches are based on, are based on finding a solution. Some could just be a study or exploration of a topic. If there is not much research done on it, not everything is an intervention or trying to solve a problem. So this is just an example. Like initially what you've started with, and at the end, have you found something? Is there like a shift? That shift needs to be there. So I hope this video was clear to you. If you have any doubt in any step, feel free to ask, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.